Why It Matters segment tonight. I am going to tell you something that no other TV anchor will tonight. Donald Trump is not a king, and the calls for violence from the left are sickening. But Republicans should, if they are smart, pay attention to the movement driving millions to the streets this weekend. Two separate thoughts. Every other network is going to tell you one of those things tonight. No network will tell you both and cover both sides fairly. That's what makes NewsNation different. Organizers estimate 7 million people protested across nearly 3,000 American cities. These are videos from some of the larger marches we saw. The only one you saw that had any kind of skirmish or violence in it that I saw was in Portland. The 7 million number, no idea whether that's true or not. Trying to estimate these crowd sizes is very, very difficult. But even if it's half that, even if it's 3.5 million, it is still an awful lot of people to give up their Saturdays. Trump argues the turnout means, in his words, nothing.
When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country. I'm not a king. I work my off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
And broadly speaking, those folks out there are not Trump supporters. They never would be Trump supporters. So he's right. It's not representative of a large part of the country. And this no kings thing is stupid. No king would allow 7 million people to protest him. That's obvious and something Democrats should learn. Democrats have called Trump a king, a Nazi, a fascist going back to 2016. It has not worked. It didn't work back then. It didn't work in 2024. It's not working now because nobody believes them. The event this weekend, though, was the second largest single-day gathering in the United States since the first Earth Day in 1970. The same number of people showed up to this protest as the Hands Across America event in 1986. Just to give you a visual, 7 million people is the equivalent of the entire Houston metro area. If 7 million people lined up in a military-style formation, the line would be almost 2,000 miles long, would go from New York City to Salt Lake. So it would take roughly 28,000 Boeing 787s to fit 7 million people. Even if it's half that, 14,000 Boeing 737s. That's a lot of people who exercise their First Amendment rights this weekend, which brings us to the dark side of the No Kings protest. There was not any violence. There was a lot of celebrating violence. Let's go blood clot, talking about Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk had it coming, change my mind. This machine kills fascists, that is there. And then there's a bunch of other signs out there. The protesters fantasized a lot about violence, and some of them out and out called for people to be killed.
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out.
Who are you gonna kill?
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty.
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're gonna kill Stephen Miller?
If I had a chance, yeah, I would.
Okay, so for a birthday present, what do you hope happens? You know, you wake up tomorrow morning.
I hope that I see the obituary that we're all waiting for tomorrow. That's what I hope for.
Yeah. you wishing that President Trump is dead?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow. Her birthday wish is for Trump to die and has no problem saying it. Tells you about the movement and what people are now comfortable talking about. And then there is this. An elementary school teacher who mocked Charlie Kirk's death by pointing a finger, you can see, to her neck like she was making a gun. Remember, an elementary school teacher. This woman teaches the next generation of Americans. And she went on and on. There's video of her talking about this and making fun of Charlie Kirk's assassination. We'd be wrong to suggest that this woman represents the entire movement. She does not. But she's allowed there. There weren't people telling her to leave. Same with all those other folks. The movement sort of allows this, accepts this call for violence. The truth is, Democrats dismissed the Tea Party as a bunch of loons back in 2009, 2010. I covered it. Then Trump came along and ran with the movement just 5 years later. It was exactly the same point Cuomo was making, and he's right about it. History tells us both parties should take these rallies and protest movements seriously. Republicans should realize there is real anger about Trump. Democrats need to figure out why violence is now so openly championed by their supporters.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.